Unit 3, Lesson 5. So this is actually a really important lesson that I want to make sure that you take some time to understand, because we're actually talking about abstraction and functions, and you're going to be creating your own functions in this particular lab. And it's really important because you have to be able to really understand what a function is and how it relates to the abstraction in computer science, because that's one of the prompts that you're going to have to write about in your create performance task. So I don't want you to rush through this, and I want to make sure that if you have any questions as you go along, that you email me or you contact me through Zoom with the office hours, so that we can actually go over this, because I really want to make sure that you understand it. So again, you're going to read over the vocabulary. You're going to go through the new code we're going to work on. This particular video is super, super important, so do not skip it, because it really shows you what a function is, but it also shows you how to structure it. And that's a little bit about what I'm going to show you kind of briefly through this one. So again, we're working with our turtle. I've already done a bunch of these, but I'm going to flip it to the blocks. But again, you can go back and forth, flipping between blocks and text, depending on how you want to do it. So we're going to start creating something that's called a function. And if you notice, these are the only commands that we have: move forward, turn left, pen up, pen down. And we're being asked to create a function that's called turn around. So the goal here is to make our brand new function that we can use, that all we have to do is say turn around, and then our turtle is going to do its work without having to type out a whole bunch of code. And we can use it over and over and over again. So if you look here, these are the codes we can work with currently, and this is how we can actually create a function. So the video before, when you watch it, we'll go through and teach you how to do this. But you're going to bring your function over. You're going to give it a name. You're going to put the commands that you can use with it. And then you're going to call your function here. One thing it has here, which I really like, and I haven't put that in here, is it has a function called the comment function. And comments are really important in coding. So if you wanted to make this, obviously my function has a very obvious name, but I can actually turns the turtle around. So what this does is, if you notice, it's in gray, and I put these little slashes in. This allows me, the reader, to see this and remember what that function does without having to do a lot of work to remember it. Or if I passed my function off to someone else to use, then they can use it. So if you notice, once I create the function, my turnaround function, which is made up of two commands, turn left, I can then call my function as many times as I want, and it's only one line. So I save a whole line of code by creating a function. So very important. Another thing that I want to make sure that you're aware of when you're creating your functions is how to organize your function. So this is another one here, because it starts to get a little bit more complicated as we're working. So this particular one, I want you to make a cross here. And I have created a turnaround function here. So I put my turnaround function below everything. This is the function I create. But if you notice, I can actually call to my function here in order for it to work. You might find a way more efficient way to create this cross. And that's okay, because that's the beauty of programming. So once we get a little bit more complex, we then have to start thinking about things in a little bit higher level. And this is where the goal here is to actually start trying to create this image here, which is a diamond. Each one of these bubbles will step you through drawing a step, then you'll draw a side. So rather than just this is a step, and then this would be the side, and then eventually you're going to put it all together so that you actually have a series of functions. So here I've created a step function, I've created a turn right function, I've created a draw side, and then I've created a draw diamond. And when I call to my draw diamond up here, I can run this, and then see I've got a diamond that I've created. So it's very important to put this all into order. and to make sure that you can see how they're structured, because things can get really complicated really fast. So those are the things that I want you to be aware of. Notice that this draw diamond function that I created, which is actually down here, which actually pulls in other functions that are created, this is an abstraction. So a function is really just an abstraction that makes things easier. So now when I say draw diamond, the computer automatically creates this, but it's actually using all this code, which then uses all of this code in order to actually make the diamond. So that's the simplified way that the abstraction works. So hopefully that helps you. And then you're going to finish off your CYUs there.